everyone. I'm welcoming back also Marla Huehmer. She is our school psychologist and is just lovely to talk to. So we're going to pick her brain a little bit more about your kids and their emotions. Hi, Marla.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Marla, I think when parents realize that their kids are meeting with school counselors, sometimes it's kind of like feels secretive or unsure to parents as far as like what actually goes on in there. And will I, as a parent, actually find out what happens? Could you talk about that a little bit for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So as a school psychologist, from my experience, I know that my responsibilities were to usually parents were known of this, that you had a meeting. And then in your meeting, you're talking, it's usually an SST meeting. And then you're talking about the child and you're concerned about their behavior, their grades. And then I would pull them in, and if it was a decision to do an assessment, then I would, give them an evaluation, like a psychoeducational evaluation. That includes like a cognitive test and, looking at their memory, looking at their processing, like their auditory processing, their visual processing, even their visual motor skills. And then I'd look at their behavior, I'd observe them in class, and then I pull them in. Aside from assessing them, I talk with them and things like that. And then usually in my situation, if it was just that type of scenario where I'm assessing them for a learning disability or social emotional disturbance, we would then have a meeting called an IEP meeting. And there we would discuss the full results of what went on in there. So what went on in there would be, they would get all their detailed report, a psychoeducation report of what went on, what their test scores were, what their behavior evaluation looked like, and what the teachers said about that, what I observed. So they would get it all written on a piece of paper, and then we would write down recommendations on what was the best thing to do, for at home and in school. But if it was a scenario where the child was, oh, can you see my kiddo? They're having a bad day. They just lost a parent or a grandparent, or they're having an issue with their behavior in the classroom. So there could be two situations with that. I would pull them in and we would talk and see how they're doing, see how they're feeling. And of course, everything you said, you always say everything said in this room stays in this room. It's confidential unless you say you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else. That's always like the rule that we live by. But definitely we would tell the parents, I noticed this behavior was happening. It sounds like it could be stemming from this. Maybe they're talking about a student in the class. I wouldn't say the name. It could be stemming from a teacher or an assignment or something. So we'd say it'd be stemming from this type of situation. So these are the best things that we can do to help you and your kiddo overcome that. So, and if it was a behavior problem too, then we would write, like a behavior or support plan, and the parents would see everything visually there on that behavior support plan. Like, this is the behavior, this is the thing we're going to be working on, and these are the recommendations for the teachers and parents to support that behavior problem. So I think in an overall way, I think parents would definitely know what's going on in there. They just need to ask too, ask, the questions, this is my child, this is what they were doing. How did you help them? What are some things I can do to help them at home, with that? But we're not going to go into full detail about every little word that I think that they said. So just to be respectful, I think, right? Yeah. But definitely they would know what's going on. They should be knowing what's going on. So
yeah, and that's probably important to not tell every single thing in some senses, because the kid needs to be able to trust you as a trusted adult and be able to rely on you also. Right?
Yeah, that's true. In case they need to see you again, right? Then they'll be like, wait, you told my mom exactly, blah, 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 blah. So, but definitely you have to say, it's difficult, right? Because you want to make sure the parent, you're not hiding anything from the parent, but you want to make sure that you tell the parent everything they need to know to support their kid, right? Yeah.
Like you said, I think some parents feel like it's almost scary to hear that their child went to the school counselor or psychologist. Like, what happened? What did they do? And so it takes some of that guilt and fear out to know kind of what goes on.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that, that scenario, that a parent would feel scared or concerned or worried. Why are my child? That's good to know. I never thought about that before. So yeah, definitely express that to the person who saw your child. Say, I think that, being a parent, you have a voice, be calm and rational when speaking, and just because that's going to get you farther. Sometimes you get in meetings and people get a little upset with one another, and then I know people get defensive. I've seen it between parents and teachers. They can get very argumentative with one another. And it's like, oh my goodness, we're all here for the good of the kid. Take a step, take a breath.
I think sometimes too, parents don't understand that you're in your profession, you're trying to find ways to communicate with the child and trying to give them ways to express their emotions. So what are some creative ways that you personally have dealt with talking about emotions with kids?
Okay, so jogging my memory, I definitely recall. I think the easiest thing for me when I'm just recalling right now, bringing them in the office and it just make it very casual and relaxed. And oh, hey, I was just asked to see you today, and let's talk about what's going on, and this is what I heard, what's happening, and then I will slowly just kind of get to know who they are. I don't think I want to jump right into forcing them to talk. So we would definitely bring out like a book or start drawing something. I think anything that's used as like a distraction, where they're not feeling like they're on the spotlight, because I think even for adults, right? If you imagine yourself at work, and then your manager calls you in, what's your first thing? You sit down and you're like, what did I do wrong? What do they want from me? So it's going to be uneasy. So it's kind of like that scenario with the child, right? What did I do wrong? There's this adult in here. What's going on? So I think just to make it, and it's your body posture too. I think, your body, they say that even with puppies, right? If you have an anxious puppy or a stressed out dog, you don't want to come at them like this. You come at them, you maybe look at them not directly, you know what I mean? So I think it's all in the mannerisms, how you carry your body when you're dealing with kids. If you look very relaxed or you got something else going on, or you're holding something else, it's I guess it's all in the way you present yourself. And books, drawing things, anything, talking about what makes them comfortable. If they want to talk about a video game, anything, and then relate it back to maybe their behavior, what what they need to be seen for. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's probably the best thing. I do recall a time when I had a little girl in there in my office that was in trouble for her behavior. And I think it was due to ADHD or something. And there was this book that I had that helps you, calm yourself down. And there was this one picture image of a little girl pushing on a wall. And so I drew the picture, I replicated that picture, and I had the little girl color that in. And so while she was coloring it in, we talked about how that helps when she's feeling this certain way. And then also I used to recommend little exercises the teachers could do. Occupational therapists know about these a lot. It's called the drive-through menu exercises, and they're big posters, and you can hang them up in your classroom, and they have cute little images, like 10 exercises. There's one for attention, one for strength building, one for relaxation, and different things. And so you could, like, one child is having a hard time, focusing and getting together. So you would say, okay, let's stand up and do going to the beach one. And everybody stands up and you pretend you have a sunblock. So you squeeze the sunblock on your arms and you rub it in your arms. You rub real hard, and you rub your shoulder, your neck, your legs, your face, so everything. And then somehow it does something to the brain to get them focused again. So, but that is a great thing for teachers to use. And you can even try it at home too. So it's called the drive-through menu exercises. They're great. They're used a long time ago. I know people are still using them, but I liked them. So.
That's a really very creative way to refocus kids, I think. And that's something that, I love the idea of them, parents trying to get their kids kind of just refocused at, like, say they're they're doing homework or something, and calming down and relaxing. And we can talk more about that later too, but just that whole vision of them being able to refocus is awesome. Hey, my kids come home grumpy and exhausted after school, Marla. They're just so hard to deal with. What is going on with them? Why are they like that? And how do I handle that?
I know. That is a common thing, I would think, right? With kiddos, I was talking with somebody recently, and I mentioned to them I used to work at a boarding school, and it was with a population that had a problem with alcohol addiction. So, and what we would use is we use this acronym is called HALT, and we would say before you decided to take that drink, not in this case with your child, maybe not, think of, are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? So I think sometimes when you kind of figure out where the emotion is with your kiddo, is my kid hungry? Do they come home? Did they eat their lunch? Did they drink their water? Because that's a big important thing. Drinking that water is very important. Did they eat their lunch? Did they have a bad interaction with a peer that made them feel lonely or separated, or are they tired? Are they getting their sleep? Are they playing their video games late at night? So, or something, or are they just having a hard time going to bed? Could it be something else? So I think you have to kind of look at those scenarios to figure out then how to solve your problem, do a little rundown checklist in your head, but I always start with, the simple things. Are they hungry? Are they thirsty? Because maybe their sugar levels are down and they're not quite, able to deal with their emotion because they're hungry. I know I can if I'm hungry. That's okay.
No, that's great. And I was thinking too, probably once you've hit all those basics, then you start to think about maybe more of the social stuff at school, or quizzes, homework, yes, all that kind of stuff secondary instead of the basics first.
Yeah. Yeah, the basics that would be for me, the basics first, just because even if I'm trying to reason with them about their bad situation with a peer, I'm not going to get much resolved if they're hungry. So, but yeah, definitely if it's a peer issue, that could be probably the number one things, right? They're feeling left out. That's a big emotional piece for kids when they're feeling left out, or they lost a friend, to another friend or something. That just really tears them apart, and peer acceptance. Boy, that's the hardest thing to deal with, I think, through all grades, from little ones to big ones, right? Even adults, right? So.
Yeah. I was talking to another person recently, and they were talking about how if we don't feel safe as people, we don't feel appreciated and loved, then we start having problems. And I do think that that's, like with your role in the school and with parents, kids should feel just really embraced. And a lot of times they just do. They feel alone and frustrated, and then if they don't have that brain development, they don't understand why. So it can be really a frustrating situation.
Oh, it is. It's difficult. It's hard being a kid. It is really hard being a kid because you just see them, they're physical, they look like they have it together, right? You look like they can do this, but they're dealing with so much inside that you won't know about unless you talk to them, I guess, right?
Right. And sometimes they don't even understand, so that makes it trickier. So if they
definitely
if they get beyond just this grumpiness and we can get them to sit down, how do we get them to do the homework that they have to do? Do you have any other tricks?
Oh, I know. These are good questions, right? So I'm guessing that a lot of parents feel this way, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Now I can say this, I can say this from personal experience that not only working with kids, but from when I had a fifth grader last year. Now, fifth grade, kids really that's a whole different ball game, right? You're learning to be more responsible. You have different types of classes. You're learning like, oh my goodness, how to manage your time, and things like that. So what I created from my personal experience and my knowledge of executive functioning skills, which is a big term for, how we organize and plan and manage our time and things like that. And I know kids are weak in that area because they don't have that developed yet. So I actually created all these worksheets in a book. It's called Let's Get Organized.
Oh, awesome.
And it's really super cute. It's really super simple. It doesn't have a bunch of um, bells and whistles. It's just a point. It has a little simple a little thing that helps kids. First of all, what you want to do is you want to help them understand what it's like to be disorganized. What does it feel like to be disorganized and organized? So I have a little thing here that says, describe your experiences with each emotion, give examples of the times you felt disorganized. So, and then I also have a little, how do you keep yourself organized? Make them a little list, how they organize themselves at home. And then a little simple little cutouts, nothing too fancy, that they can put their desk on, showing how they organize their desk at home. If they don't have a desk, that's okay. It's teaching them how to be organized at a desk. And then a little page where they can see how you're supposed to organize your desk. And then how to organize your drawers, how to keep yourself organized at school, like what's in your backpack. I know a lot of teachers and counselors and psychologists are really big on clean your backpack out once a week, right? Every Friday at the end of the week. If Friday's too crazy, Thursday, just pull it out and take out the trash and whatnot, because that's so important in staying organized. And then I have a nice little simple one-page calendar. I think that, the big fancy agendas that they give the kids are just too busy. Oh, can we pause for a second?
Sure. Yeah.
You're going to have to take this out.
That's
Alexa,
okay.
stop. Sorry, you have to take that
That's
out.
okay. That's okay.
I didn't turn her off. Okay.
It's okay.
So I guess we can take that clip out.
Now give me a chance to clear my throat. It's okay. You're good.
Okay, good. Is this okay to talk about this?
Yes. Oh, please talk about it. I think it's great. It's great.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Okay. So I'll start again. Okay, so I have this one-page calendar page, and I think it's a lot easier to use than those big things that they give the kids. It just looks so busy. There's pictures and I don't know, it's just too busy for me. And so they just simply write their class down. And so it's a one-page thing. So if their teacher says, oh, you have a test Monday and it's in science, so take out that sheet and then write down science. Of course, you have to train your child. You have to do this for at least a couple of weeks right beside them to make sure they're learning how to do this. And then they write down what they need, what day, so it's only week by week, this calendar, to make it not so crazy busy. And then we have a really cool checklist, and it's a to-do list at home and also for school. This was mainly for online, the classwork to-do list, because I think your teacher will help you figure out what you need to do for your daily schedule. But at home, when you take what you have your assignments throughout the day, what you need to do, and then what you remember, what you have for homework, and you would put down what you need to do and then the time you're going to do it. So like, let's say they have math to do. First, you ask your child, what do you have for homework? I have math, I have to read, I have science. And so you can put down, or I have social studies. So you would put down, okay, well, we're going to start social studies at 3:45. And then we're going to put to about 4:10. And then we're going to do math at 4:30 to about 5:15. So I think having those times helps them visually see when they need to start their work. And then it also teaches them how to figure out how long it takes to do an assignment. That's my favorite thing, is what's my time. So a lot of kids will say, oh, I'm not going to start math until 5 o'clock, mom, or I'm not going to start math till 6, right? And then it's like, are you sure? And then it's like 8 o'clock and they need to do their big project, it's due the next day, right? So I think this is kind of neat. So you would put your subject like math, and then you ask them, how long do you think your math is going to take you? And it's funny because they'll say 20 minutes, right? And then you put down the 20 minutes and then you do the math together with them. And then you find out, what I think and what the actual time to do something is, could be longer. So maybe I won't start math at 5 next time. Maybe I'll start math at 3:45, so it's just a lot of neat little things in here to help them plan their day, organize their day, and understand how long it takes to do assignments. And so and then I have a little to-do folder, done folder, how to do that. I think that is really makes it nice. I had a little neat what time is it thing for kids at online, to make sure they have all their things in preparation for their next class to begin. But my daughter did this, and she did it in 2 weeks, and she was so self-sufficient. She was there off and running. I didn't have to do a thing with her. so I know it worked. It worked for me. But every kid is different. They may need a little bit more support. They may need a little bit more time, than the 2 weeks. But yeah, so now she just is taken off. So, but of course that was last year in 5th grade. So 6th grade, I'm sure she's going to be fine. We'll just, I gave her little calendar sheet for the time, and I'm reminding her, so we've only been in school for a week, but I'm positive that she's going to be okay. So
it's such a comprehensive thing, like what you put together is. And I think a lot of times parents don't know how long it's going to take for their kid to do an assignment. They don't know, are most kids up and down trying to get things done. So having something to keep them kind of going and focused is awesome.
A visual schedule, in a way too, because a lot of kids are visual. And then, like we talked about too, if they decide, remember, you can't just go work. You need to make sure they have that time, that downtime, And then for kids that have some attention problems and things, you can incorporate things like that from that drive-through menu. You can explore that. And we have a Let's Get Organized group. And if you scroll down in our group, we have a lot of the things that you can do, and they can help to support you with, a schedule, how to create a visual schedule for your kiddos, and how to incorporate that drive-through menu. We'll add more as we go, because school's back in session. It's been so busy over here too with us, but yeah, definitely the Let's Get Organized Facebook group has some great resources. And then also we talk about our books there too. But yeah, so I think it can be difficult to get kids, especially when they have a hard time focusing, right? So, but if they get up and you give them, there's another one I really like. I'm trying to think of what it's called. I think it's just a Simon Says one, so it's just playing a Simon Says kind of game, just different things. And then it's just that break in time, and then they're able to sit back down. Like even when somebody's at work, you need to take a break, right? You need to stand up and walk around, or if you have an office job, you need to get fresh air. It's hard to just sit and do one thing for a long period of time. So
yeah,
breaks are important.
I use laundry. Do you use laundry?
What laundry? Oh, you use laundry as a break? Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought about that.
We could give chores out as a break,
Yeah, that's smart. That's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, for your kids.
Oh, well, I was talking for me, but yes, for kids too, that would work definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Kids like jobs. What I found too was really neat in my day working with the kids with ADHD, having them push heavy things. For some reason that would ground them. So I would suggest, like, can you have the kid in your class, just make him the helper. Maybe you can have him move desks around or chairs down, and then you can also make them the helper in class too, right? Collecting the pens or pencils or passing the papers out, So another little trick was we had created was putting a pencil under their foot, and then they can roll the pencil on their foot. It's just different little techniques that your psychologist should know, and your occupational therapist would know too. That is the key person, I think, that would know a lot too, the occupational therapist.
These are great.
I hope all that helps.
Oh, they're fantastic. I think that taking a hold of some of those issues that are so stressful is ultimately going to, have a positive impact on the parent and the kids, and reduce a lot of the stress and the frustration and anger issues that can develop because of that.
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. Yay. Good. I'm glad I could help in some way.
Oh, 100%. Well, Marla, we definitely want people to check out your site, thinkaheadkids.com. Check out the books there, check out your podcast. You got so many wonderful things to offer. And I thank you just so much for your time. It was great to talk to you.
Yes, well, it was so fun being here. I love questions like this. It's great. Thank you so much, Dori.
Thank you, Marla.